You might never actually reach the destination you've been dreaming of for a decade, not because the road is too long, but because you have far too much freedom to walk off of it. It might sound wrong, but imagine this. Freedom, unchecked and wide open, could be the fastest way to never arrive anywhere at all. Imagine that discipline isn't a ladder, not a set of habits, not a morning routine taped to your fridge. Imagine discipline works more like a cage, not a punishment cage, not bars slammed shut by someone else, but something engineered, designed, built slowly, piece by piece, around the shape of your own mind. The cage isn't about restriction, it's about removing choice when choice is your enemy. Picture a massive hydroelectric dam. It holds back the crushing weight of a river. If there is a single hairline crack in that concrete, the water doesn't ask for permission. Physics dictates that the river will come through. It will find the weakness, erode it, and eventually shatter the wall. Your psyche operates under similar laws of fluid dynamics. Your impulses are the river. If you leave a crack, maybe just this once, tomorrow I'll start, the river of your weakness eventually bursts through. In that world, discipline wouldn't be about being strong all the time. It would be about building something that doesn't require strength every minute, a structure that holds when you don't. Imagine that every single weakness you possess, procrastination, indulgence, rationalization, distraction, is a door installed in the wall of this cage, and you are standing inside it. You must craft a lock for each of these doors. But here's the catch. Your weakness is a master thief. It is intelligent. It knows you because it is you. If you build a simple lock, your weakness will pick it. It might take a week or a month, but eventually you hear the click, the door swings open, and you stumble out. When this happens, most people blame themselves for failing. But what if the correct response isn't guilt, but engineering? What if every time your weakness picks a lock, you simply study how it did it, and then you weld a heavier, more complex mechanism in its place? You do this again and again. You escalate the security. If your weakness picks the lock of, I'll just rely on motivation, you install the lock of rigid scheduling. If it picks that lock with, I'm too tired, you install the lock of accountability partner. You keep building stronger locks until finally you find the one mechanism your weakness cannot pick for years. Eventually the thief stops trying. Eventually the weakness gives up. Now imagine there's somewhere you're going, not a goal you can articulate cleanly, more like a destination you feel but don't fully see. And imagine that there's only one corridor that leads there. It's narrow, it's uncomfortable, but it doesn't branch. In that corridor, every step hurts, but every step reassures you. Because no matter how slow you move, you are moving forward. There's no decision-making fatigue. No wondering if you chose wrong. Time becomes an ally, not an enemy. Now imagine the alternative. Imagine that same destination. But the corridor turns into a maze. Endless intersections. Each turn labeled with something convincing. Rest. Later. Just this once. You deserve it. Some paths are softer on the feet. Some feel merciful in the moment. And maybe they even loop back toward the goal eventually. How long would that take? How many years get added by choosing comfort over direction? How often would you mistake relief for progress? In that maze, discipline wouldn't be about motivation. It would be about removing choices, about building walls where temptation keeps offering detours. In a maze, it is up to your judgment to find the shortest road. But because we are human and because we are wired to avoid pain, how often would you choose the less painful turn? How many years does that add to your arrival? 5 years? A decade? If the maze is vast enough, you might wander in circles until you die, always choosing the path of least resistance, never realizing you are moving further away from the center. Picture yourself crossing a desert, decades long, thirsty in ways that go deeper than the body. Every few miles, a mirage appears, clear water, shade, relief, and every time you stop, you lose days, years, pieces of yourself. Now imagine a train cutting straight through that desert. No windows, no doors, no stops. Uncomfortable? Absolutely. But there's no mirage inside a train with no exits. Maybe that's what the cage is, not restriction, but transport. Now imagine something else. What if the cage isn't powered by discipline at all, but by fear? Not fear of effort, fear of consequences. The cage is really about fear, but not the kind that paralyzes you. It's about finding a fear greater than what you currently fear. Picture two dragons chasing you from behind while you face one ahead. Suddenly moving forward doesn't seem so scary anymore. That's courage. Not the absence of fear, but the presence of a greater one. Fiction must drive you. What is scarier than a year of dieting? The consequence of not doing it. You must visualize that consequence until it becomes a monster. You just need to find the consequence that triggers you emotionally, that makes the sacrifice feel like facing one dragon instead of two. Now imagine temptation standing just outside those bars. The greatest enemy of the cage isn't what's inside it, it's what you can see outside. Imagine sitting inside, starving, staring at a table full of food just beyond the bars. The longer you stare, the weaker those bars become. Now imagine that same food is rotten, disgusting. In your mind, breaking out means you'll eat because you can, but you'll suffer the taste of horrible, spoiled food. Now you're choosing between two fires. That's a far easier choice. That's a choice that doesn't weaken the bars. In this world, discipline wouldn't be universal. There would be no diagram, no shared blueprint. You cannot buy the plans from a guru or download them from a perfectly curated morning routine video. You have to act as the architect for your own psyche. You have to understand the specific topography of your own mind. What if the very reason you have failed in the past is that you were trying to build someone else's cage for your own specific beast? You have to hack your own mind like software. Find the exploit that makes temptation outside the cage appear hollow or just as painful as staying inside. Nobody else can write this code for you. Their variables won't match yours. You'd have to reverse engineer your own psychology like flawed software. Find where temptation routes itself. Corrupt the reward signal. Rewrite what escape feels like. Trial and error is the only way forward. The only path to a solution is to start, fail, and try again. Like a safecracker learning the combination to their own mind, one click at a time. No one could hand that to you. It would only emerge through repetition, through failure, through noticing what breaks and rebuilding it stronger. Trial and error wouldn't be a flaw, it would be the process. And maybe, just maybe, after enough iterations, the river stops testing the wall. Not because it's gone, but because it's learned the dam holds. So ask yourself, in the prison movie of your life, which character are you really playing? The one digging tunnels with a spoon, counting days until freedom, or the one making sure nobody ever leaves? And maybe, just maybe, the greatest escape of all is realizing you were never meant to break out. You were meant to lock yourself in, throw away the key, and finally get to work. Imagine sitting inside that cage one day and realizing something strange. You're no longer pressing against the bars, not because you're trapped, but because you're moving. The train is moving. The desert is blurring past, unseen. You are in the corridor and the destination is ahead. You look down at your hand. You are holding the master key to the cage you have spent years building. You don't put it in your pocket. You don't hide it under the mat. You walk over to the small furnace in the corner of the engine room and you throw the key into the fire. You watch it melt. You watch the metal warp and disappear. And for the first time in your life, as the realization washes over you that there is absolutely no way out but forward, you are finally feel free.